Hey, would you like to know 2 of my favourite ways to use large sentiments on a card? Then stick around. Welcome back to another Take 2 with Therese at Altenew, and I've got 2 fun sentiment cards to share with you today using the Timeless Sentiments die set. Now these are quite large sentiments, so when you're using them on a card front, it's much easier if you plan what you're going to do to make sure that you make the most of the sentiment and it can be seen. Now I've got 2 repeat sentiment ideas for you today, and the first one is creating a background with the word thank you. So I've cut a bunch of these out, and here's a tip: always cut more than you think you're going to need, at least 1 or 2. You can always put them in your stash and use them for another time. I decided to ink blend a background, and it wasn't my best ink blending day, and I just went ahead anyway. I have actually got a mark on this panel from my finger, but I'm not too worried because I know that I'm going to add a lot of sentiments over the top as well as a flower, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be covered up, so I'm not going to start again. But another option is to do this technique with a white on white. It looks amazing. I just felt like a colourful day today. The next thing I'm going to do is actually plan out how I'm going to lay my sentiments on the card front. I like to keep one of the sentiments whole and centralized. So this is my sentiment of thank you. I'm just working out where to place it around where the flower and the other sentiments are going to sit, so that it actually has one full die cut to give the proper sentiment for the card. And the best thing about these designs is you don't need to add a sentiment. This is the sentiment that I'm going to attach to my panel first, and I'm using a liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of wriggle time. If you are organized and preferred to do it, a double-sided adhesive sheet would work really well for this technique as well. And you could just stick that to the back of your white cardstock and basically make a stack of stickers with your die cuts. And this die cut here is particularly easy to use to create a quick, fast and fun background because both of the words are joined. It meant I had to die cut less times, and it was easier to line them up. What I tend to do is look at where the previous word is attached to the card front and then follow that like a pattern. And it doesn't have to be words that you die cut and create a pattern in a background. You can actually do this same technique with images or even with shapes. And then I can just flip the cardstock away and cut away the excess. And I also like to use these little bits of extra die cuts to fill in the gaps along the edges. All right, I'm going to quickly colour the Blushing Magnolias. This is one of the new Builder Garden sets, and it's really beautiful. I love magnolias and all the different colours that they come in. This one I decided to make almost white with sort of a pinky kind of base colour, and I wasn't really happy with the initial pinks that I chose. It just didn't have enough depth. So easy ways to add depth when you're using stencils is just to add a second colour and a smaller detailed blending brush, and just use a light hand and work the colour into the image, and you can always add a little bit more if you need to. The other way I like to add depth, and this is actually quite quick and easy too, is just to come in with a coordinating pencil colour and add some details as well. I made sure I had a nice sharp pencil so that I could get nice details on those petals, but then to add the depth, I've come in here. This is a black pencil, no kidding. And I have added a bit of shading. If you didn't want to do this flower looks beautiful without that added extra time spent adding details. I love details and I love the flowers, so I'm addicted. What can I say? All right, once all these letters were dry, I did come in with my paper trimmer and cut this panel down. You may have noticed that I had adhered the words on quite a little bit of a angle, so they weren't completely straight. So by cutting the panel down, I was able to make them look straight on the panel. And then I could just pop my flower up with some foam tape and cut away the edges. It's such a beautiful flower and a really fun modern way to use that thank you die. Right, I'm on the stenciling roll today and I'm using the same colours again. This time I'm using the polka dot buds. This is a 2-layer stencil set. It's really easy to use and it's so cute and fun. I don't know why I don't get it out more often. It looks great just as the polka dots are on their own, or you can use the second stencil and make these polka dots into cute little flowers. I did the same thing here. I just added a bit of depth to this panel using my ink blending tools. The base color, I used the large tool, but to add the depth, I came in with the mini tool again. It just gives you better color coverage and deeper coverage. You could use a detailed blending brush here as well, but whatever you've got will work just fine. So this is the panel that I'm going to create my repeat sentiment pattern on again, and this time I've die cut the word hugs. Now if you're using repeat of anything, odd numbers tend to look the best, so I've chosen to do this only 3 times because the sentiment is quite large and I want this to be the focal point of the card. And I thought I'd take it a step further and do some inlay die cutting. I'm using some low tack tape here, some very low tack well used tape, because I don't want to tear away the paper where the paper's been inked, because that's, if it's going to tear or pull, that's where it's going to happen. So I am being very gentle and I'm keeping all the inside pieces of the die cut so that I can re-inlay them in a moment, and you'll see that shortly. I'm taking note of exactly where the die sits on the cardstock, using the pattern in the background to line it up and just looking at where that die is sitting compared to the die cut word above, so that when I line it up for the 3rd time, I'll just follow the same pattern and try and keep it about the same distance. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a handmade card. The easy option here is to actually just die cut the word hugs 3 times in black cardstock and adhere it directly to the front of your card. I like to make things difficult. I've added some of the A4 adhesive sheet to the front of my A2 side fold card, and then I've attached the panel, and that's giving me this adhesive piece behind these die cut windows, and I can just lay the word hugs in each spot like a jigsaw puzzle, really. And this is what's very important. We need to fill those gaps with the leftover die cut pieces from the original pattern. You could also use these other words that are off to the right to create an eclipse technique, but I wanted this to be bold and stand out. And to help balance a little bit, because I think I was a little bit skewed, especially on that first word hugs, I've added a black enamel dot heart. Are they enamel dots when they're hearts? Enamel heart. Which is probably my favorite color, heart. Is that bad? It's not. It just looks amazing. So here's our 2 cards together now. The repeat sentiment inlay version, where I've used the die cut word hugs 3 times, and then our background thank you featuring the blushing magnolias, and making sure that you have one of your sentiments bold and beautiful. These are a very modern and fun way to use your large sentiment dies, and this is a gorgeous set. I'm so glad you joined me here today. Till next time. Bye.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!